Hey everybody, part 2 on the DZUS fastener saga here. I had a friend of mine reach out and ask me, he said, how do I locate the hole in the panel? I know, what size DZUS fastener to buy now. He says, but I want to put a hood on my car, and how do I determine where the hole goes without drilling 15 different holes in the hood? And I might have touched on that briefly in one of the other videos, but I'm going to try to go over it a little bit more thoroughly here, and hopefully that'll help in mounting a fiberglass panel. When I get to Jerry Dean's Mustang with the front end, I'll do more of this, but I thought I'd show a real quick few tips on how to do it on this Henry J, or how I did it on this Henry J. So I've shown the tabs, and I'll talk a little bit more about them and how I determine where to drill that hole. So here goes to nothing. Okay, hopefully you can see all this. I'm a little bit far away from it, but I think you'll still get the idea. The first thing I do is I determine where I want to locate the tabs. And in this instance, I knew from looking at the panel, trying to keep them sort of equidistant, like keep this dimension the same on all of them. So I just sort of did what looked good. I split the difference from top to bottom here, and then determined about where I wanted them top and bottom, and set them the thickness of the fiberglass panel from this surface here, if you can see that, from this surface to the top of the tab. I'm trying to turn you a little bit more to the top of the tab. So it's almost 1/8 of an inch down. And as I showed you before, I took these tabs and I welded them onto this piece of 1/8 inch flat stock right here that I made. It's like 1/2 inch by 3 inches long, and mounted it with 832 screws to this fiberglass. If it was a steel car, I would just weld this tab right to the fiberglass. So one of the ways I do that is I'll take a piece of, like if it's an 1/8 inch thick, I'll take a piece of 1/8 inch flat stock and clamp it on here, and then another piece on that and clamp it here, and that tells me where to drill everything. So I don't know, I'm going to try to zoom down on this one tab on the bottom and see if we can see how that's mounted right there. It's in almost 1/8 of an inch to make all this stuff work. Okay, I'm going to get up here. I'm going to try to zoom back out. Look at this here. Okay, so I've got my tabs mounted where I want them, and I mean, it's basically just what you think. Some panels will need more DZUS fasteners than others because they'll be flimsier or wobbly or whatever, but too many sort of looks dumb. So use what you need, what you think. That's about the only advice I can give there. Then the next thing I do is fit the panel into the hole, and like I showed you in the doors, I keep all the margins tight. Okay, in this instance I couldn't do that. The deck lid already fit in a hole. I had no choice. So what I did is centered it in the opening the best I could, and then I taped the deck lid to the body with masking tape to try to hold it in place, and then I laid out my holes and drilled them. Okay, so we'll start right here. The first thing I do is I measure that distance right there. The distance from the body to the center of that hole is like 1 1/8 inches, okay? Then the next thing I do is I use a Silver Streak pencil. I hope you can see this, if that focuses. I use these Silver Streak pencils, and I draw a line right in the middle where that tab is, just like that. Okay, I'm hoping you can see that. Yeah, you can see that Silver Streak mark there. Okay, and like I say, I do that on all my tabs all the way around, make my center line mark, then make sure that everything measures like 1 1/8 inches, like I believe it will. Different tabs have a different location, so I just measure what I'm doing. So, if I'm using them bigger tabs, some of them will be 1 1/4 inches. It just depends on the manufacturer of the tab, okay? So then I'm gonna stick this deck lid up here quick, and then I'm gonna show you how to determine the rest. I'm only gonna put a couple ZUS buttons in it just to hold it in place. There you go. Okay, so say I got it centered on the body. Then I'll take my silver pencil. I measure from the body over 1 1/8 inches. Okay. Pretend this hole's not there. Just pretend with me for a minute, okay? So now I got my center line marked from the edge of the body to the center of the hole. Then the next thing I do is I use a square to mark the reference silver streak reference line. And it's a little dealio I made like this. I've got a left and a right-handed one just made out of sheet metal, and you can see it's got a little bit of a bend in it. I just lay that on the body right there where that line is, and I draw through that line. Just like that. That gives me my center line on that tab. Like I say, this usually works everywhere, but if you get close to a corner, you may need one that goes this direction or over there. You know, just part of how that works. Then what I do is I'll drill an 1/8 inch hole to start. And I'm going to grab another ZUS fastener real quick here. I want to show you something there. And then once I get all my 1/8 inch holes drilled, I'll use a step drill. Let me grab this fastener. Should have been more prepared, sorry about that. If you can see this now, what I do is I try to drill to this point on this fastener with a step drill, so it goes right there. Okay? And you'll find that your holes move around a little bit. You can be like a 1/16 of an inch off or whatever. Sorry, getting out of focus there. But like I say, I try to drill to that spot. Oops. Good job, Tim. Try to drill that spot on the fastener right there. Then what I do, I've got a round grinding stone. I just put that on my drill next, and what I do is I'll run that stone in on the chamfer that hole and move it around where I want so the fastener will sit flush. And I do that to all the holes, check all my fasteners, just the springs if I need. And that's about what I do when it comes to putting ZUS fasteners in. Thought I'd just share that with you real quick. Thanks for watching.